Good morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin of Radio 107.9 FM and respective radio stations island-wide. I'm Relika Roach, and welcome to the Live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, September 15th, 2021. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, the Honorable Omar Otley, to address you. Minister Otley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Relika. Good day to the members of the media, the viewing and listening public, and my honorable colleagues. I will start with the COVID-19 update. We are now at 195 active cases. We have had 4,021 confirmed cases from the start of the coronavirus pandemic. We currently, unfortunately, had 58 deaths. And with that being said, there was another death recorded yesterday. So I would like to have a moment of silence for the persons that have passed. Thank you. Many persons have reached out to the government, the ministry, about the Share My COVID experience that they are seeing. We have had persons within the community share their COVID experiences, their symptoms, and many persons seem to relate to this. What is unfortunate is that our last taping that is supposed to air, this person shared their experience with their family member, how they pleaded and asked their family member to be vaccinated, and this family member don't go anywhere, and unfortunately still contracted the virus. And in that taping, I saw the anger, I saw the hurt in this person, because they really tried to persuade their family member to take the vaccine, and unfortunately, their family member was very ill in the hospital, and have passed recently. So the Share My COVID experience is not necessarily only to say, hey, be vaccinated, but it shows persons that are healthy. We saw the last one from the gentleman where he exercises a lot and everything, and he still was affected real bad by COVID-19. So we ask everyone to continue a healthy lifestyle. Those who are not continuing to start their healthy lifestyle, but please understand, and one of the herbalists at our last vaccination pop-up said it. He said, many persons think that drinking bush for a week is considered a healthy lifestyle, a boosting your immune system. It's a lifestyle. It's continuous. So I will still promote the vaccine. I will still push the vaccine. And for those that want to start a healthy lifestyle, don't do it for a week. It's called a lifestyle. Let's continue it. Let's boost our immune system for any of the other variants that may come later on. Based on COVID-19 vaccination status, we are currently at 42% of persons that have taken their first shot. We're using the whole population, of course, and we're currently at 37% that have taken both shots using the whole population. We encourage all parents to get your kid vaccinated, 12 and older. If you do, reach CPS. If you have problems reaching the destination, please contact 914. Let us know. We also would like to reach out to the schools. There's a bit of discrepancy. I will let the Minister of Education touch on this when he does. He's not here at the moment, but where schools are requiring, some schools, a negative test to enter. We would ask you to respect the letter of CPS, also respect the letter of a doctor. So if a person goes to the doctor and does not want to say specifically, hey, here's my result, they do not want to hand over their results, we should trust the doctor, where the letter would state that the person is able to go back to school or the person is no longer infectious. I am happy to announce as well that the inspectorate sent a memo to all pharmacies allowing them to import self-test kits. This is very, very, very important. This is something that I promote. I actually posted it today on my media. I did self-test this morning, me and my family, fully vaccinated, but we still do our checkups weekly. It's very easy. It's an antigen self-test kit. You put the buffer in the required spot. You swab your nasal for 15 seconds, each nasal, each nostril, and then 15 minutes later, you have your results. So I encourage everyone, go to the pharmacies, collect these self-test kits, and it can be very helpful for us. I encourage us as well to follow protocol where need be. The virus doesn't go away. This is very important. When the numbers go down, it's not that the virus goes away. It's human behavior that changes. When the numbers are high, we tend to be more careful. We tend to wear a mask, sanitize, distance. And when the numbers go down, we become more relaxed. So please understand that the virus is going to be here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be an endemic. An endemic means eventually it'll be a virus that we can live with, something like the common cold or the influenza flu. So coronavirus, as we see it thus far, will not go away. So it all depends on our measures, behavior, and the way that we take care of our body. Hospitalizations, we have seen a decrease in hospitalizations. We now have 9 persons in the hospital. Unfortunately, again, we had a death, but I'm praying and hoping that within the next coming weeks, we can see 0 in the hospital. I'm really hoping that we can get over this Delta variant. And in the meantime, I just pray for St. Martin. I pray for blessings, and I look forward to any questions that the media may have.
Thank you, Minister Otley, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, the Honorable Silvera Jacobs, to address you. Prime Minister Jacobs, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. Good morning to you. Good morning to my colleague ministers, the members of the press here present and those following, and of course to the people of St. Martin and those following this broadcast. Firstly, let me give an update from the Ministry of General Affairs. As I have mentioned last week, the Fire Department and Disaster Management Team is requesting that the public remain vigilant and prepared as we are still in the height of the hurricane season. Of course, the Department of Communications continues to publish ways in which we should be keeping ourselves safe, as well as, of course, being well prepared for any pending disasters. Last week, the personnel of the fire department received training on the workings of the new fire trucks, which were delivered. The mechanics were also given instruction on how to troubleshoot and repair if that is necessary. And as soon as they are fully trained and get the feel of the new trucks, they will be then put into service. This will allow the 2 older trucks to be taken out of rotation so that maintenance, the needed maintenance, can be carried out. Once, of course, that is done, then we'll be able to have all 5 trucks back in rotation. Also last week, a course was provided by the Institute of Fysieke Veiligheid, IFV, to several members of the fire department. This course was necessary to recertify them as examinators or chairperson of the exam committee. This will now allow them to conduct firefighters exams anywhere within the Dutch Kingdom. Via the Department of Foreign Affairs, we are in the process of finalizing preparations for the UN General Assembly High Level, which will be held next week, September 20th to 24th. The event will be held virtually once again. I will be a part of the St. Martin Kingdom delegation, along with several staff members and others within the kingdom. Of course, the Dutch speak on behalf mainly of the kingdom at this UNGA. However, there are breakout sessions where we will be able to take part as well. Arrangements are also still being finalized in regards to a bilateral meeting with the UN SG Antonio Guterres, as was held last year, also virtually between all the prime ministers of the kingdom. That is still being arranged to take place during next week as well. As I mentioned earlier, the hurricane season is still in its peak, and all emergency support functions have been trained or continue to be trained to make sure that their plans are in place. The people and businesses of St. Martin are asked to also to ensure that their plans are ready. I would like to thank the Ministry of VSA, the Minister, and CPS for the very successful pop-up that was held last Saturday. Several ministers passed through. As the council, we are in total support of this initiative and will continue to look forward to them on a regular basis. Minister has promised to keep them coming. I did see quite some parents with their teenage children, high schoolers, at that event. So I'm happy you're taking that opportunity, as we're seeing that, you know, since we've now moved it for 12 and up, that is the greatest portion of unvaccinated persons. So even as we climb in numbers, if we pay attention to the unvaccinated or persons who have also never been exposed to the virus, it's still a quite large number, and it is our goal to get those persons as much as possible protected. Visit our government website, www.stmartingov.org/coronavirus, for the latest information. I also commend the ministry for including the herbalist and others giving tips on how to build your immune system and how to get healthy if you haven't been doing that already. A lot of natural remedies were there, and I think together we can have a protected St. Martin. So we're open for, that shows openness for dialogue among all, let's say, opinions on the subject. And at the end of the day, government continues to promote the vaccine and testing on a regular basis to ensure you know your status. That is key. Even as, of course, data continues to show that the vaccinated are at a lesser chance of being extremely sick as well as of spreading the disease. So avoid large gatherings as much as possible. Continue to use the protocols that we've put in place, and I continue to encourage all those hardworking civil servants in our inspectorates to continue the good work of ensuring safety for the general public as you do your duty out in the community. That will be all for now, Rolika, and I stay open for any questions.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, for your opening remarks. If you've just joined us, you are watching the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, September 15th, 2021.
This hurricane season, remember that the shelter registration form is for persons requiring a shelter prior to any storm or hurricane threatening the island. The sole purpose of this new registration form is to have an estimate of persons requiring accommodation at the hurricane shelters in the event of a hurricane. As social distancing may still be mandatory during the hurricane season, it is even more crucial that everyone in need of shelter can be sheltered safely. Applicants will have to provide their general information and also that of their household. The 2021 hurricane shelters are as follows: the Milton Peters College, New Gym Hall on L.B. Scott Road, South Reward; Dutch Quarter Community Center on Zorgendras Road, Dutch Quarter; Rupert Maynard Community Center, St. Peter's Road, St. Peter's; National Institute for Professional Advancement, also known as NIPA, located in Cahill; the Belvedere Community Center on Low Estate Road, Belvedere; Simpson Bay Community Center on 53 Airport Road, Simpson Bay; Melford Hazel Sports Center on Sauliga Road, Sucker Garden; John Larmeny Center, Longwall Road, Phillipsburg; Christian Fellowship Church on Welfare Road in Cole Bay; the L.B. Scott Sports Auditorium on Longwall Road, Phillipsburg; and the Little League Ballpark on Sewaliga Road, Phillipsburg. In the event of a hurricane strike, buildings have been identified to serve as a temporary shelter. Persons who will seek safety in a shelter must follow and abide by the following information provided. Prior to leaving your home, make sure everything is secure and you've packed all the essentials that you will need, like face masks, hand sanitizers, enough food and water for up to 3 days. It is also advisable to take a first aid kit to the shelter with you along with prescription medications, special items for elderly or disabled family members. If you have a baby, remember to pack enough diapers, formula, and bottles to last at least 3 days. Take playing cards, games, and toys to keep children and yourself occupied. Take a set of clean clothes and bedding, like pillows and sheets. Carry a can opener, a few cans of non-perishable food, special items for elderly or disabled family members, battery-powered radio, flashlight and extra batteries, cash and credit cards, passport and other important papers like your insurance papers. There is no need to bring cooking equipment or furniture to a shelter. Alcoholic beverages and weapons are not allowed in shelters. Smoking is also not allowed. Shelters do not accept pets. You should make arrangements beforehand to have your untied pets secured in a room at your home with sufficient water and food for at least 3 days. Do not leave dogs and cats in the same room. It is strongly recommended to bring portable electronic devices such as phones, tablets, and battery packs, fully charged, as there are limited outlets at shelters. As it relates to safety, shelters will be manned by law enforcement and military officials in order to guarantee order and a smooth operation within the facility. For more information, visit the official website of the Government of St. Martin, stmartingov.org/hurricane. This public service announcement is brought to you by the Government of St. Martin.
Thank you for joining us. We now move on to the question and answer session. However, I would like to inform that the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Artwell Edion, is present, however, will not be making any opening statements, but is available for any questions the media may have. The floor is open, and I'd like to invite Bibi Hart Shaw of SMN News. You have the floor.
Good morning, Relaika. Good morning, colleagues, ministers. Good morning. My first question, Minister of Finance. Minister, can you give us an update on the payment of the SSRP? There are a number of people who said they have applied. Some of them, their requests are still pending, and there are lots who do not know when they will get payment for July, August.
Good morning to my colleagues. Good morning to the people of St. Martin. Good morning to the media. Thank you for your question, Ms. Shaw. In regards to the SRP income and unemployment support, one of the reasons why it wasn't initially paid out, as I mentioned previously, was because of the budget not being passed on time and so forth, and the delays that we had there. The advice should be finalized this week at the Council of Ministers, and we are looking to pay out by between the end of the week and early next week.
Thank you, Minister Edion, and thank you, Bibi, for the question. I'd now like to invite Stephen Cerulean of PJ82 Radio. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Roach. Good morning to you, Prime Minister, ministers. Good morning to you as well. My question is for the Minister of ESA. Minister, undoubtedly, the information as is provided in relation to the COVID-19 situation on St. Martin is always welcome. The question is, though, what's the situation with the unemployment rate of St. Martin?
Thank you very much. It's hand in hand. I've had discussions with the Netherlands, hence the reason why many persons have asked, why don't we lock down? Why don't we close at 8 p.m. when the numbers were high? And I explained that I'm also Minister of Labor, right? And for us to close at 8 p.m. would definitely kill the business sector, especially those at night, the restaurant sector. So we try to find a balance in between. I'm pretty sure that there is an increase in unemployment, and why I say pretty sure is that we at times don't see it correlated with the numbers. Persons don't report as much as you would expect. So oftentimes we would hear stories, we would hear stuff that is happening, but at the Labor Department there's no report, whether it's intimidation, whether it's fear. But I've always encouraged persons to report. I must say, based on numbers and statistics reported, of course, there is an increase, but not drastic. And I thank the Minister of Finance as well as the entire government with the SSRP support for that, because that has been a big help to help decrease mass layoffs. So that it goes hand in hand. So the numbers reported are an increase, but not as drastic as we may hear out there. So I encourage anyone that are going through labor disputes, I encourage you, make use of the Labor Department. That is the only way we can properly assess and properly implement policies and measures to help, decrease unemployment. or underemployment.
Thank you, Minister Otley, and thank you, Stephen, for the question. We now move on to the second round. Bibi Hart Shah, you have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. My question to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Jacobs, I'm asking you this question based as the shareholder representative, not the minister in charge of the company or over the company, but as a shareholder representative. Now that you have two court cases deemed inadmissible that was filed by the SBOD of NVGEB, do you foresee that there will be an end to this ongoing saga because there's another case filed? And Minister, have you passed on the baton as from a shareholder perspective to the minister to deal with this?
Good morning to you, Ms. Shaw. The Council of Ministers remains responsible as shareholder. As a representative of the Council of Ministers, I can say that we continue to do our due diligence as it regards our role as shareholder where GEBE and all government-owned companies are concerned. The Minister of VROMI, the Honorable Egbert Duran, had been mandated to deal with the whole management issue, the change of management issue. So there is correspondence ongoing where he is mandated to have the discussions. However, all decision-making still remains with the shareholder, which is the entire Council of Ministers. Our Secretariat is also highly involved in all the communications going back and forth. And as you can see, from the first two injunctions that were filed, they were determined to be invalid, etc. And CoM, the Council of Ministers, will continue to do its due diligence, requesting the necessary shareholders meetings to do what is necessary to bring some semblance of continuity of management to the company. As for us, way too much attention and time is being spent on this rather than what is needed at GEBE at this time, which is ensuring that we can get the best out of the company, that the necessary loans that have been on the table for over a year are handled. And for that, the Council of Ministers would like to see that that becomes the focus of NVGEB.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs and Bibi, for the question. Stephen, you have the floor.
Thank you once again, Mr. Roach. To the Prime Minister, a letter has been sent to your person as the Minister responsible for General Affairs by MP Duncan regarding St. Martin becoming an associate partner within the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. If you have received this missive, can you give us your initial reaction?
Thank you, Mr. Cerillion. Indeed, I did receive the heads up from the Member of Parliament that that was on its way, but of course it takes a while to get to me directly. I have not yet seen the specifics of the request. I think we've updated Parliament as well as the general public that we are in the process of becoming an associate state within CARICOM. The ECS, which you mentioned, is a smaller, I guess, more intimate organization. And I haven't had any recent updates yet as to where we stand with that. What we must realize is to be members or associate members of any organization, it requires a financial contribution. And so I would have to check into the relevant department, being the Department of Foreign Affairs, to see where we are, if that was also on the table or not, and see what the Member of Parliament's perspective is on that. So, of course, we are a government that is open to increasing our, let's say, collaboration and cooperation within the Caribbean region. So anything that we can do in that respect, the government is open for, but of course it must be feasible. So I await the reception of that missive, as you may have called it, but indeed our coalition partners, we are in government and we are in the same, we have agreed to the same governing program. It is always in the how we execute it is where sometimes opinions may differ. However, we will do our best to ensure that we get to the goal, which is increased collaboration within the region.
Thank you. Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs and Stephen, for the question. We now move on to the third round of questions. Bibi, you have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Do we have another round after this?
We just may if time permits.
Okay, because I have two questions, and I want to go at one that is very much interesting. And I'll ask the Minister of Finance. Minister, I just got word that the shipyard that owes a lot of money to government has lost the court case. Do you have any information on this, or can you at least acknowledge whether or not this was another win for government?
Thank you for your question, Ms. Shaw. Yes, indeed, I did. I was updated as acting Minister of Rummy that yesterday the court case was concluded and that government did win the court case. The full details I don't have in front of me, but yes, I can answer that we have won that court case versus Shipyard.
Thank you, Minister Edion. Stephen, you have the floor.
And if I may pose my question to the Minister of Finance, can you provide some information, Minister, in relation to the 2022 budget?
Yes, the 2022 budget has been sent to CFT for review. They have 2 weeks and also been sent to the Council of Advice. And as the governor mentioned in the opening of Parliament yesterday, that we expect to have the budget in November at Parliament.
If I may, can you see as to what figures are associated with the draft budget for 2022?
Well, I prefer to wait until the feedback comes from CFT and so forth, so that if there are changes that need to be made or changes or comments from the Council of Advice, that we don't have two different stories floating around and so forth. I will wait until we have the final feedback from both entities and prefer to comment as it's on its way to Parliament.
Thank you, Minister Edion, and thank you, Stephen. We now move on to the fourth and final round of questions. BB, you have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Minister Otley, can you give us an update on the situation regarding the patients at mental health, one that died in a prison and the other one, and the reports that you have asked the inspectorate to provide you with? Have you gotten those reports, and where are we on this?
Thank you, Ms. Shah. The incident with the prison I cannot speak on, as it's now an investigation being handled by the Justice Department, so I cannot speak on that. The other one, I did mention in the press briefing that the inspectorate is carrying out the investigation. He stated that it can take up to 8 weeks and with a possible extension. However, based on previous reports from the inspectorate of on mental health, I did send a memo to them asking specific instructions based on the report, when it's going to be done, what was meant by this, etc. And mental health have responded. They have responded with timelines, with courses of actions that they are taking to better improve their situation, and given answers to some of the explanations of the inspectorate. So they have responded to me in a nutshell with timelines and procedures that they are taking and have taken to better their care. And as far as the investigation goes, I still have to wait on the final outcome from the inspectorate.
If I may, Minister, did they give you an indication as to the salaries being paid to the new director and if it meets the Jacob norms?
Well, no, Misha, but any salary that will be paid to the new director has to meet the Jacob norm. So I did not get that detail as yet. I know this is still in the process of applying a director itself. The person now is an interim, but any person that, any salary indication that comes to my person has to meet the Jacob norms. So.
Thank you, Minister Otley, and thank you, BB. Stephen, you have the final question.
Thank you, Mr. Roach. If I may circle back to the Minister of Finance. While you are not able to say whether or not, actually reveal the figures associated with the draft budget for 2022, are you able to say whether or not the budget has a deficit, Minister?
Thank you for your question, Stephen. Yes, the budget does have a deficit. We've requested the Article 11 from the CFT in regards to the requesting to be allowed to go in deficit. for 2022, and obviously we're dealing with the coronavirus. Our income is low, dealing with the loans and so forth. So yes, we will have a deficit again for 2022. I don't have the exact figure in front of me now, but like I mentioned before, as the feedback comes back from CFC and Council of Advice, this information will be available to the public.
Thank you, Minister Edion, and thank you, Stephen, for the question. Members of the media, this does bring us to the end of the question and answer session. Any further questions can be sent to the Minister's Cabinet in writing. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, September 15th, 2021. For rebroadcast, tune into St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, the YouTube channel Government of St. Martin, and St. Martin Cable TV, channel 115. For video on demand, log on to the Government of St. Martin's YouTube channel. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Relika Roach and wishing you a pleasant day further.